Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Two Dumb Yinzers. This is episode 129. We got big stuff today, big day. This is Steeler recap day. Now, the Steeler win in the preseason, it's bittersweet because, yes, we won. We're off to a good start, 1 of 20. But the bitter part is Mike. If you notice Mike over in his box, he looks like the Unabomber. Now, what's going on with that is Mike came down with a little bit of a illness over the weekend. So what we're going to do, we're going to give you everything that we have. We're going to make a strong attempt to give you an hour's worth of Steeler recap coverage. Whatever you do, don't touch Mike's box because you might get whatever he has.
You can touch my box. Yeah.
And there he is. You see him in the flesh. You kind of hear his murmurs. So it's not like Weekend and Bernie's. We're not. You get the point.
I'm still alive, barely.
Mike is barely alive.
Yeah.
But we
sorry.
Mike. We had people in the executive position saying, "Why don't you guys just maybe take the day off? Maybe cut it short." And you know what? That's all good, but if that would have happened, you wouldn't get to see Mike throw up, run to the bathroom, shit himself. The usual struggles of being sick. So I said to them, we can't take the day off. It's very vital that we see Mike in his current state.
Fucking headset.
So there he is in the flesh, barely alive.
I'm barely alive, fiddling around with a stupid mic. I can't do shit today.
I've seen him many a times over the weekends. I didn't pay much attention, but it looks like Mike has some black guy peeing on his head. So
that's George Pickens, man. I'm hanging out with George Pickens. We're watching the draft again. Watch when he gets drafted.
Is that George?
That's George Pickens, man.
I've seen this a million times. And my first thought was it was the you recall the show in Living Color when Damon Wayans played?
He looks like Handyman.
Handyman. That was my thought. I thought, okay, stupid handyman means I'm not going to pay much attention. But now that I know it's George Pickens, and I just learned right now,
that's George Pickens.
I will treat it differently. But Mike, we had a game this weekend. We had an opening game 1 of 20, possibly more.
It's not going to be more.
Let me see. I got a lot. We have a lot to get into in this regards, Mike. Without destroying anybody in this games, just quite yet. How are you feeling? How are you holding up?
Like on the Steelers?
No, just you in general. How you holding up?
I'm doing all right. I'm getting better as the days go on. Yeah, I can actually breathe today, so that's a plus.
Are you taking medication?
Oh, I'm just drinking some Dayquil and sleeping when I can.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's all you can do,
That's about all I can do, and I just, taking it minute by minute, I'm not on life support, so I got that going for me, which is great.
He's not on life support yet, everybody, but we have an hour here, so
we have an hour. Well, we'll see how long I can talk. Once we get into certain players, though, we'll see how long my voice holds out.
I like it. So the Steelers won, Mike. They won their first preseason game, 32-25. I thought it was a damn good game.
Yeah, so right.
Much to talk about. Again, it's preseason, so I mean the conversation, it's accordingly. This isn't the be all end all. This, of course, is preseason game 1.
You wouldn't notice that by Steeler Twitter, though. Oof.
Really?
These people are acting like this is the greatest game ever played, the most important game in franchise history, and that everyone who played in the second half should be all-star, all-pro. Just send everyone to Canton from that second half.
All right, what I take is this. I observed some of this myself, and I made an opinion.
Uh-huh.
Why this game was so exciting, I think, was for obviously a couple reasons. I think the fact that we don't have an all-pro franchise Hall of Fame quarterback for the first time in almost 20 years. this was big for people to take a look at what could be, the leader of the pack moving forward for the next, who knows how long. Most people that watch this game, a lot of people with this game, like a lot of people that watch this game, now they haven't even seen a game where Ben Roethlisberger wasn't included on this roster. So this was a big game in many ways, I think. Obviously, the topical ones are things that we'll discuss as well. But like I said, you dig deep into it. This game was big. Everyone's ready to get football back on their TV. That's big. A lot of different things going on. It was a big game. The Steelers winning was, it was big for the people of the area. We love it. Mike, but there is a bit of a quarterback controversy. I'd say the best one since Mike Tom, Zach, Jim Miller, and Cordell Stewart.
Oh God.
Some may argue. Now this game, we got to take a look-see at all three quarterbacks. We got to see Trubisky in the first, Mason in the second, and Kenny Pickett in the second half. Without being too terribly offensive to any of these quarterbacks, Mike, why don't you give us your take?
All three quarterbacks played the way they should have.
Absolutely.
Trubisky was out there with the ones. He let him down for a scoring drive. Mason was in there with like a mix of the ones and the twos. He did what he had to do. He led the team down there. And Kenny was out there at the 3s and 4s and did what he had to do against the 3s and the 4s. So everyone performed the way they should have against the competition that was out there. So there really should be no shakeup in the whole quarterback rankings for this team. You have Mitch at 1, Mason at 2, Kenny at 3. And that's the way it was kind of going in training camp. The performances were headed that way as camp progressed. And that's the way they went out in the game. I don't think anything changes. They all did good. They all, Rudolph was sacked. Kenny was sacked twice. So, they all did what they had to do.
I thought that Mitch looked fine. Mitch could go out, start week 1, will be just fine. Mason, you know what you're getting. You know what you're getting with Mason Rudolph. So I'm looking at confidence. I'm looking at his eyes. I'm looking at the things that you can't write down on paper with him, because I think that's where the problem is with him. A couple of things that I've noticed in the past, but I just want to bring to attention. He's a very flat-footed thrower. I don't think we can debate that. He is. If you watch him, he doesn't step into his throw like any other throwing position that you would in sports. If you're a pitcher, if you're an infielder, if you're a quarterback and you throw a ball, you step into the throw. Hey, Mason doesn't do that. I don't know if that's a part of his problem. And you might say, well, he didn't have much of a problem. He threw a touchdown pass. He looked good. But just overall. Now, another thing, like I say, he's flat-footed. And that puts me in mind of, the last Steeler I seen that was like this was Brian St. Pierre years back. They just, I don't know. It's the footwork. I don't know how this don't drive the coaches crazy, but they're putting up with it. They're doing their thing. I see a guy that doesn't step into their throw. I think that could be addressed and possibly make him a little bit better of a player. Again, I think he's more between the ears. Kenny, he came out and, he had 2 touchdowns. He played the game very confidently. He played the game confidently, like you said, like he should. I don't think nothing happened uncharacteristic of this game, like Mike said, of these 3 quarterbacks that would cause a major shuffle. I liked the game, the way that Kenny was able to go out, control the game, and he ran around. He moved. Like I said, again, at this point in the season, you're looking at confidence, you're looking at their eyes, you're looking at how comfortable they are on the field. Kenny had that. Mason did not have that. However, again, he performed fine. I'm not knocking Mason, Mike. I'm just saying he didn't have that look. Do I want this guy being the leader of this team? I don't personally. It's not because I don't like him because he's Mason Rudolph. It's because I'm looking at him play quarterback and I'm not comfortable. I don't feel so comfortable. Mitch, again, Mitch could come in week 1, be just fine, and we could win football games. So is this going to mix things up in the preseason as far as their the numbers. I think that it is a little bit in a sense that they are going to shuffle stuff around. I don't think that they're going to keep things the exact same for 3 games. I think they're going to want to see Mason probably play a whole half in the second half one of these games. I think maybe they're going to want to have Kenny at the starting position one of the game. I think you are going to keep continuing to see a little bit of a mix just because we got to see these guys perform in every situation. Again, I think that Mitch is the front runner. He looks most comfortable. He's a starter. He was a successful starter on a bad team, as I keep saying over and over and over. I think Mitch Trubisky can lead this team just fine. However, you're always one play away from needing your backup. So, with that being said, I give Kenny the slight edge, not because I'm a Kenny guy, and I am. I'm a Kenny guy. I'm a Pitt guy. Everybody knows this. It's no secret. I'm pulling for Kenny Pickett. However, I do want to continue to see this. I think that it's probably going to play out the way that we're saying. I think Mitch is probably going to get that week 1 nod. I think that Kenny's probably going to come into the number 2. And again, I think that only comes down like to confidence and these are things that coaches look at. And again, it's not things that you can look at on paper. So unless anything crazy happens, barring an injury, insane situation, I think here in a month on September 11th against Cincinnati, you will have Mitch Trubisky as your starter, and rightfully so. If Kenny Pickett is the guy, it's not quite yet. The guy has to get more comfortable in the league. He looks comfortable out there. He's a good football player. The guy's a baller. But like I said, a month from now, less than a month from now, when we're playing Cincinnati, you will see Mitch under the center. I can't possibly imagine that Kenny will be underneath Mason. But again, I'm not a coach. I just sit here in my studio and talk about it. So with that being said, my simple assessment of the quarterback position, Mike, why don't you give us a little bit of breakdown? Do you have a breakdown that you'd like to give on each guy?
Mitch looked good on that first drive. Yeah, he looked really good. Mason, he stepped beautifully into that beautifully thrown ball where only George Pickens could catch it. The thing was a thing of beauty. It was a work of art. It's the greatest throw I've ever seen in Pittsburgh Steelers history. It was a thing of beauty. The fans booing him when he came out there and booing him when the left tackle got beat and had him get blindsided. You people are idiots. You're just Mason Rudolph haters. I'm not a big Mason Rudolph fan, but Jesus Christ, you people are ridiculous. I've seen Joe Montana, Steve Young, Randall Cunningham, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Pat Mahomes, Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger all get hit on that same play, and you're all acting like it's out of the blue just because it was Mason. Not you, but like most of the Stellar fans that were there. You guys are ridiculous. Mason has improved year over year. He's not my guy, but he's improved year over year. He's going to be he's a good number 2. Pickett,
number 2, all right.
Kenny Pickett, a 1-year wonder from college. It's well established. He had 1 good year. This year he played against 3rd and 4th stringers with 3rd and 4th stringers. And yeah, he did that against 3rd and 4th stringers, but he was the first quarterback taken off the board. If he did not play that way, that would be a huge red flag. So he played the way he should have against that level of competition.
So that's an exciting.
So I'm really not impressed by it. That was just he played the way he should have.
You're not a good bar to go by. Now, here's the thing. The reason I say that you're not a good bar to go by is because you are a little tougher on the players, which you're over here like nitpicking every little thing about Mason, and I'm just pointing out that Kenny played against 3rd and 4th stringers as a first-round quarterback. That's the way he should play. But you do give it your narrative, which is fine. And again, our audience knows that. They know where you stand, with our players, and that's fine.
I love our players.
What's that?
I love our players. Look at me and George. Me and George. So George is my guy. I love George.
Kenny did. He did exactly what he needed to do. To not be able to get excited about that, I think is kind of crazy. You want to see him do that. He did that. He took the 4 stringers out there. He moved the ball down the field the way that he needed to do. Time after time. Was it against 4th and 3rd stringers on defense? It was. However, that was the hand he was dealt, so he did what he was supposed to do.
You did what he was supposed to do.
Mike is 100% right.
Thank you. That's all. But like, here's like the thing. Like throughout the league, like Desmond Riddler. No, I think he may have struggled, but like Malik Willis and a couple of the other quarterbacks that were drafted, everyone's like, "Oh my God, they did so great!" It's like you guys all had them projected going in like that first round, this is how they should have played. I think everyone is just overblowing this quarterback class.
Now,
I don't know. It's hard for me to get excited about preseason anymore because this year Anthony McFarland's looking great. He looked great last year in preseason. What did he do in the league when the game started? He didn't do anything. So it's hard for me to get excited about people doing well in the preseason because how are they going to translate when teams are actually game planning for the offense, defenses are game planning? That's just what I'm worried about.
That's your base position. This is your blueprint. You have to sit down and watch these weeks. Yes, it means nothing.
You watch them, yeah. You see who does what.
It means nothing, and as far as this team's going to play all year long, but this is probably one of the most important times of the year. This gives you a chance to see the guys that are ready, that aren't ready, the guys that might be something. And you know what? I took a lot away from it. Am I excited that the Steelers won? No, that's not why I'm excited. I'm excited because some of the guys that I was watching were able to do the things I was hoping they was able to do. Now, whether it be, we say that you can't judge people by what they do in practice. You can't. It's practice. But this is the next step. This is the next step. We're on the field. We're playing competition. You want to see this. You can't really come down on the guys for winning because they did what they had to do.
They did what they had to do. I just want to keep it in perspective. That's all. A lot of fans and even people in the media are blowing it out of proportion. It was.
People want to know what this team is at right now. You know what I mean? This is the ground zero.
Yeah.
People are going to get excited about their favorite players doing well. I don't think that we could get mad about that. It is, it's part of the game. It's fun. It's exciting.
Yeah.
But like Mike said, that it goes on. You have Jacksonville next week, and then the following week you have Detroit, and we're going to continue to look at these players, and we're going to continue to get excited. We're going to continue to be irritated at the defensive depth. The defensive depth, Mike, is the one area that I thought could have done a lot better in this game. It was the one facet of the game where I thought was under par. I think the quarterback thing is very exciting. I think not to get excited, not to watch these numbers in practice like shit Madden says. I think this is all important stuff. If this is your team, you want to learn as much as you can about your team. You want to take it in. And if some people get excited, some people get pissed. It is what it is. But we want to learn what this team's all about. I could listen. Quarterback thing is going to continue to happen no matter what I say, no matter what you say. We can sit here and say that Kenny has the best quarterback rating amongst rookies for the past 30 years. But again, that's neither here nor there in the big picture. But while watching this team moving forward, judging them, assessing them, and figuring out what's going to happen in 3 weeks, it is a big game. It's a big game in that sense. And it's football. They're on the field. They're playing. And I think anytime that's the case, you got to check them out and see what they're doing.
It's not going to matter who's at quarterback as long as that offensive line keeps pass blocking the way they do, which is just terrible.
Kenny, Mason Rudolph must have threw 3 balls into the defensive lineman's hands. I'm not ripping Mason. I'm just saying right off the top, the lineman related, the offensive line related. That was one thing that I noticed. I don't know if that was a Mason Rudolph thing or it was a lineman thing, but every time he threw to the right, it seemed like a tackle or an end got their hand up, got the ball. That was one observation I made regarding the offensive line. The offensive line, they were average at best, I'd say.
That's a stretch. They were great at run blocking.
The run blocking looked great. I tell you what, Jaylen Warren, if that guy continues to play the way he plays, he will be the backup to Najee Harris, and I would be fine with that. He runs like a mule, a bull. And the thing was, every time he got hit, it was never a tackle on the first hit. That's always a big thing with running backs in the NFL. So Jaylen Warren, keep an eye on him. Keep an eye. You're right, McFarland. I think that he's gone. I think that McFarland won't be around.
I don't think McFarland's going to be gone if he can continue. I don't know if he got hurt late last year, to start the season, because he had a really good preseason and it just couldn't carry it over.
McFarland doesn't make mistakes, and he's solid. That's why I think a lot of time. I think we went with him.
And he has that speed too. And I think he could be that nice change of pace back. And he's not afraid to run it up the middle too. He had a couple of nice runs up the middle where he lowered the shoulder. He's not afraid for contact. So I'd like to see not like a rotation, but a nice Najee, Jaylen Warren, and then Anthony McFarland. I think that would be a nice trio right there.
Like I said, from what I took away from the game on Saturday was Jaylen Warren outperformed them all as far as backup running backs. I mean, if we want to stay safe and have that guy on the team with the McFarland, that's something I can see the Steelers doing. They're familiar with the guy. They know the guy. They like the guy. Was he returning punts or kicks last year?
He may have been split in time because I forget who returned punts for. Ray was returning kick. Like him and Ray were returning kicks last year. But I still think like it wouldn't surprise me like if he makes it because he is that they don't have a burner back there and he's their fastest back. And if they do this more motion and stuff and trying to get wide open plays, I think he would be an asset.
I like Gunner. Gunner is a quick. You know what he is? The guys on the show, the guys on the game, the announcers, they actually coined him at one point. They coined him Wes Welker 2.0. And that's not a bad thing.
I wouldn't go that far though.
I tell you what, though, what I seen in the first quarter with him, he was very Wes Welker like. He could catch things pass out of the slot. He can make people miss. He can make plays. Now you compare him to a receiver like Miles Boykin. Miles Boykin was kind of upsetting to me. He was kind of a disappointment. Yeah. He's slow. He just didn't really impress me. I'm watching him after he caught this pass, and I'm thinking, go, and he's just kind of Miles did not. And there's got to be a reason that the Baltimore Ravens didn't like him.
And that was one of the reasons why.
Like him, and they shit him out. They shit him out the bottom. I don't want to be there with my mouth open. I'm not a Miles Boykin fan at this point. At first, I thought, okay, there's another name that I recognize. Let's take a look at him. But after week 1 in the preseason, not too sold.
And like he was iffy to make the squad anyways, because he has that pedigree. He had really good college career. So that's someone you bring in, kick the tires, see if there's anything there. And if he gets cut, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
And I think with that wide receiver core, God, you have Johnson, Claypool, Gunner, Calvin Austin, my boy George Pickens.
That's your 5.
Yeah, and you probably you might have a 6th, and it's good. It might be Sims.
But it ain't gonna be an exception for Miles Boykin.
No, it's gonna be it's gonna be someone
one of the odd men out, and won't be here in 3 weeks.
Yeah, because hold that thought a second. Oh my God, I got stats right here. I was looking something up real quick.
I thought
I think it would be Steven Sims would be the other guy who makes it. Would be the other receiver just because for his kick return ability.
So I like the 5. The 5 that you mentioned, obviously, you want your starters back. That's 1, 2, 3. Gunner, like I said, if used right, he could be very effective. And then on special teams, obviously, with his speed, he's an asset. The other 2, I think, are no brainers. I think that George Pickens and Calvin Austin III would have to mess up majorly. It's never going to happen. They're going to be on the team in 3 weeks. They were draft picks. We're going to have. I think our receiving core is nice. Not the best in the league, but it's pretty damn effective. I think a lot of people think, and a lot of people say, and a lot of people look back at last season and say this team, the receivers, but this group of 5 guys, can you really be down on?
No, not really. I like them.
Absolutely.
It's just hard for me to say that I like a lot of Steelers apparently, because apparently, according to you, man, I hate the entire team.
You do. You're a
I want them to do well. I just don't. I want if Pickett, goes out and wins Rookie of the Year, wins the Super Bowl. Awesome, he's my quarterback on my team. I just don't see it. I'm okay with being wrong. I'm okay with being wrong.
Why didn't he throw 5 Super Bowl touchdowns instead of 3?
Exactly. Hey, this town right now, everyone's like, oh my God, we finally got quarterbacks who could move other than that quarterback we had the last 2 years. This town shits on one of the greatest quarterbacks to play in the NFL in the past 35 years.
In their defense, he was shitworthy the past 2 years.
He led this team back on 6 or 7 fourth quarter comes back because this defense shit the bet that they all slob over.
We needed help to get into the playoffs. We were
if that defense can hold a lead, Ben would not have had to bail this team out numerous times.
You would have been happy with Ben coming back this year to play?
Oh God, no. Because his arm, he'd be thrown short, man. I might take him over these noobs. We'll find out. We'll see if if none of these guys can stage fourth quarter comebacks and every game is close like the last couple years, or we're winning by 1, 2, 3 points. And if they can't do what Ben did, I would take Ben.
Look at it this way: Pickens already has a fourth quarter comeback, so that's a nice start. Or Pickett,
yeah. Yeah, because the defense blew another lead.
Woo, that defense was bad. We'll go to the defense now, Mike. The defensive depth. The depth on defense is what scares the shit out of me. The offense looked tight. They looked, and it wasn't all your starters. You had a lot of starters.
Yeah.
But the defense, they were tight. The first quarter, I think we first half with 3 points or something, give or take. So the big guys on defense, the guys that matter, they played well. Now you're
everyone but Devin Bush.
The guys that you're going to need in the long haul, the guys you're going to need to come in and replace your starters. These guys were nothing short of pathetic. This defense of the defense in the second half, it was as bad as it gets, Mike. The Seattle third and fourth stringers were able to pass the ball around, move the ball, run the ball around. There was really ever no threat to the quarterback. It was hard to watch. They have to get the depth. They have to work on this defensive depth if they're going to want to be a end of the year serious competitor. Can you do well with your defense the way that it is up top? Yes. Do you need the guys behind them to step it up? Yes.
Yeah, I was really, really, really disappointed with like the linebacker play overall.
It was brutal.
Like Devin Bush. Oh, I was so excited to see, he's back, a full year recovered from his knee, and he's still hesitant to hit the hole.
Yes.
Yeah,
he played scared, Mike. He did. Scared.
He played really scared, which is weird for his first year in the league, right until he got hurt. He had no problem going down there and hitting people, even though he's undersized. But his knee was he's in his head. I'm over him. Spillane, you heard some pretty good things coming out of camp. I saw him get beat a couple times in coverage and in runs, just being too slow.
Yeah,
he's an effort guy. I'll give him that, but he doesn't have he's not quick enough.
And like I always said,
he's not a 17-game starter. He can come in, start a game 2 here and there, fill in, but he's not the long-term solution. And I don't think we're going to get Roquan Smith because he wants to be the highest paid inside linebacker, and that's not going to happen. So they got to figure something out at inside.
Like I've always said, has been an overachiever, and unless he becomes a consistent player, that's never going to change. He's always going to be a bit of an overachiever. And the thing about an overachiever, they're going to make plays, but are they going to make plays consistently, like you said, long term throughout the course of the season? No, not usually. That's what that player is. They're a bit of an overachiever. Yeah. They come in, they make big plays sometimes when they need to, but this isn't the guy that's going to do that game in, game out, which kind of scares me now because Bush did play so scared. I'm a bit concerned about that linebacker position. Hopefully, either Bush could get out of his head and back onto the field, or Spillane can be a overachiever for the next 19 games. So whichever is closest to being a possibility, I think is the route we have to take. And unfortunately, now at this point, looking forward, that's one of the Achilles heels moving forward, and we didn't think that would be.
Yeah, we've always had a strong linebacking core. Now it's gone to pot. Excuse me, but it wouldn't surprise me. I don't think they're going to trade for anyone, but I'd like to see like once players start to get rosters start to get trimmed down, and there's going to be those cap casualties that happen throughout the league of like, oh my god, I can't believe this guy got cut. Kind of like when Joe Hayden was released. So it wouldn't surprise me if they start looking at people who are going to get cut, bring him in and see if they can be that guy and come in at middle linebacker.
Yeah.
And, hopefully they can find someone, and hopefully, like, you got to realize though too, we're not out there with Olawalu, Cam, Wormley, Ogumbuju. Yeah.
Half the damn defense, basically.
Yeah. Well, it's not out there. So, it's only preseason. I don't want to go like too far in the negative because, I criticize people for going too far in the positive. Yeah. So I'm trying to keep it even here, but it was very disappointing, which, God forbid, for the longest time, even under Cowher and then now under Tom, it seems like that defensive depth in the preseason, that third, fourth quarter, you kind of see that, the Steelers D has never really been fourth string depth. It's been a lot of number ones with a good number two sprinkled in to fill in. And after that, you're kind of screwed. Because, I would like to see, because they've always had so many good defensive players that you have to pay them. So you only got so much money for so many guys, and not everyone's going to be able to come in and fill in a starter role.
I think if we're going to really hang ourselves up on the defense here in the second half, you got to kind of look around the rest of the league. I bet you, I didn't watch every game around the rest of the league. However, if you watch the second half defense on most teams in the league, this is probably what you got.
Yeah.
I doubt that anybody was out dominating in the third and fourth quarter. Again, preseason. This is why we watch. This is why we love preseason.
Yeah.
I like it. It's a different beast. You
Yeah.
watch it for a different reason. Couple things that I noticed, Mike. It's 11:30. Hijinks time. One of the things that I noticed during the game, when Geno Smith, I believe, dove into the end zone for his first the touchdown that he scored, Charlie Batch here on our home stations, Charlie Batch says that Geno Smith pulls his balls out. He pulls his balls out. I thought that was hilarious. I don't know how many people caught it, but Charlie did say, in fact, that Geno Smith pulled his balls out. The other one was
Charlie.
I forget what happened, but Pete Carroll came dancing. Maybe it was after they tied the game, late in the game, whatever. Bob Pompiani, one of our favorites. He said, he goes, wow, look at Pete Carroll moving like a 70-year-old. He looks like he's 50. And I thought that was funny because, again, I don't know many 50-year-olds who are great dancers. You're already starting to hit that stride to where I thought it was kind of a funny thing. I don't know how he meant it, but I thought it was probably a little bit funnier than it was meant to be.
So how much were you smoking at that point? That's the question.
Exactly.
Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
But
and
pulled
those
his
are
balls out.
my
That's a great
hijinks
comment.
Moments. Unless Mike wants to throw up on camera, that's pretty much all I have.
George Pickens, when he caught the touchdown, popping up doing AB's end zone dance, I thought was great.
Yeah, that dance. Oh my god.
I was like, oh, that's beautiful. I love it. After the game, they asked him about it. If it was pre-planned, he's like, nah, once I realized that was it, I was like, man, I got to do something. Yeah. The first thing that popped to his head was AB. I love it. I'm glad it's not in his forefront of his thoughts about what dance he's going to do. I'm glad he's focusing on football. However, maybe take a couple minutes to think about what you're going to do in your next dance. Yeah. Let's, have a couple things in mind. So when you get in, you're not panicking and go with AB, which is great. Speaking of AB, did you hear his biggest regret?
Maybe I heard he said he was Jesus or something.
His biggest regret was that he never got to watch himself play a football game. He's like, I've been able to watch it on film, but not to see it live like you guys did, see it happen. Like seeing the Beatles perform or Jesus at Red Rock. I fucking love it. That's why I got Jesus up here.
You know me. I'm a big guy on consistency. I think the consistency is everything, especially in pro sports. The guy did it consistent for 8-9 years.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want with that. The fact that he turned into a fucking insane clown and also did what he did to end his career, I think you have to put that into part as well while figuring out what exactly AB is. Was he one of the best with his numbers during the time he was when he was performing well? Yes. But that that disaster, you have to put that in part too. That is who he is. That's part of, he didn't come back on the field to play in games. He left the team, took his shirt off. These are things that you have to put with Antonio Brown's name moving forward because he did those things. I think that the inconsistency as far as that is going to be my downfall. Does he get into the Hall of Fame eventually? I think he should by his numbers.
He should.
But at the end of the day, you look at him and what he did, you have to put that into consideration, man. You have to put the ladder into consideration.
Yeah, him walking off the team and taking his uniform off, that's the one that's that's what's going to keep him out. If he would have just, went to the locker room and just sat there, like he was, or just sat on the sidelines, it would have been different. But walking out on the team,
the decision that he chose to make down that last run of his career, I think is going to be what haunts him eventually when it comes to Canton.
Yeah, well, I don't get me started on the NFL voting, but anyway, Mr. Big Chest, AB, hardly knew ye.
You ought to take a nap, Mike. If you want, you can pull your head down and take a nap if you want.
I'm hanging in there. I'm doing all right.
I was going to direct the listeners to throw stuff at you, like throw stuff at their screen while you're taking it.
Oh, so you want them to destroy their own screen?
So the kicker, we got to take a look at, what is it? Skiba,
Skivvies.
He's playing for other teams to look at.
Yeah.
I think you're going to get a solid kicker if you sign this kid. He's he's good. He's got potential. He didn't fuck up. All the things you want to see in a preseason game. He did all the things that he needed to do. So with that being said, Balls will be here in 3 weeks. I'm not really concerned about Skyba, but he did. He was a solid kid. If you're looking for a kicker, and kicker is such one of the weirdest positions, you either don't need a kicker or you absolutely need a kicker. There's no happy medium. You either don't need it because you have somebody who does the job well, or if you don't have that guy, you need somebody who's going to be able to come in and win the game for you with 3 seconds left down by 2. So the kicker's such a weird position. He is got a pretty good future. Any other teams watching him, I think he's going to get picked up. And, I'm happy with Boz. So,
this kid might, he might, land on the practice squad in case something happens to Boz.
Yeah. And the practice squad is now bigger.
It's still expanded and everything, and they're keeping it that way, which is good. I think that's fair because, my God, how many injuries there are and everything. It's just easier to just expand it. NFL.
I like it. So we go down to Jacksonville next. I forget what I seen. What did they do? They just had something. Who did they play?
Hold on. I'm on the NFL site. Hold on. Where am I? Who am I looking for? Jacksonville. Yeah. I know they lost to the Brownies.
That's what it was. The fact that Dobbs was outperforming Watson, I think, was the point that I wanted.
That was great. Yeah.
Yes.
Dobbs 10 of 13, 108 yards and a TD.
What? This was Dobbs' stat line?
Yeah, 10 of 13, 108 and a touchdown.
Damn, he was almost as good as Kenny. Shit.
I know we should have kept Dobbs and saved that first round draft pick to grab a defensive player who actually start this year. But hey, what do I know? I
tell you what, the draft went well because you always say we should have took this player, that player in the first, and then got the player we wanted.
I know. I'm the one that bitched when we took Lawrence Timmons and Lamar Woodley back to back. I'm like, what the hell is this shit?
Yeah,
you Super Bowls later. I'm like, yeah.
So I think that this isn't necessarily the worst. I like the draft. Again, they got their guy. They wanted Kenny.
They wanted him. Yeah, I'm not going to blame him for that. No.
You get Pickens, who you could have probably got in the second quarter, in the first round, the second quarter.
Second quarter.
You got George Pickens in the first round, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And then got Kenny if he was still around.
He still would have been.
However, we got our quarterback, we got our receiver, we got a hell of a steal with the Calvin Austin. Leal,
he played well. He played really well.
He came through at the end of the first half, busted through the line, almost broke his play up. He came back in the second half, was very known. His presence was very known. I think picks 1 through 4 played great, with the exception of Calvin Austin and the ankle. He'll be back this week. George Pickens, you really couldn't ask for anything more from him. He did what he said he was going to do, and then some. It was like Cam Hayward was saying all this good stuff about himself, but George Pickens went out there and did. That's what Cam Hayward.
And George didn't say shit. He let the media do the talking for him.
Yes. George Pickens looks like he could be a great wide receiver moving forward.
On a side note, the Steelers need to pay their wide receiver scouts more money. Jesus.
You're right.
Actually, hey, I'm going to speak well of a Hayward here. Connor Hayward.
Yes.
He put a couple special two tackles, a couple catches. The only bad thing I saw about him was like that one route he ran on the crossing route. He kind of stopped and then started again when Mason threw it where he thought he was going to run through. It's a little miscommunication right there. But if he can shore up little things like that, I think he's going to be a steal for a 6th round draft pick. And I am speaking well of a Hayward.
Absolutely. I think he's finally at this point, he's becoming Connor Hayward and not Cam Hayward's little brother.
I hope so. I'm tired of hearing about all this. This is Cam's brother. Yeah, we know that. You tell us once and move on. Let's go.
I think that's going to start changing because Connor is going to make a name for himself. And, that's all we had from draft day till now was he was Cam's little brother. It wasn't like there was any games that we could judge him by. I mean, we could watch practice or whatnot.
Oh, he balled out in that bowl game against Pitt.
That game could have been a lot different because
Michigan State didn't have their best running back. And
Pitt didn't have their AFC Player of the Year. But
Oh,
anyway,
wow. AFC player of the year. Ooh, wow.
ACC
He
player of
already
the
said
year.
he's better than Mahomes and Josh Allen and Lamar.
No, I'm saying I meant to say
No. You said,
ACC player of the year is what
oh, okay. There you go. There you go. I was about to say, dog.
yeah, Ace, no, yeah. He's
Yeah,
got a
well,
long,
Pitt actually
he has
played
a
like a
long
team
way
from
to
a real
go to be the
conference, so they didn't know what to
AFC
do.
player of the year. Long way to go.
Yeah, he has to jump Mason and
I
Mitch.
think you'll be all right. But I think I didn't add it into my halftime hijinks segment, but one thing that I did find quite entertaining was the last play of the game when Seattle was playing pitch to try to get the ball up the field on that last kickoff. And the defensive player, the player for the Steelers, sandwiched the guy. Did you see the sandwich, Mike?
I did.
That was by far the play of the game, in my opinion. He wasn't fucking around, and he played football to the whistle. That's the way you're going to make a team right there. That's how you play in preseason. That's how you play in practice if you want to get on a team. Yes, ultimately, how you play in practice, it doesn't make numbers. It doesn't add up to the statistics. But these are the things you watch about. This guy plays whistle to whistle. He ended that game. It could have been a lot crazier. Seattle could have took it all away. A lot of things could have happened. This guy came in, football 101, ran right through the guy, ended the game, whistle to whistle. I loved it. That was, again, it wasn't hilarious, but it was great. That's why
it was great.
Hygiene segment. But I like the hit, man.
I like it too. And he may not make the Steelers, but that film right there, other teams will see it throughout the league. Like, hey, this guy has potential.
Yeah.
And hey, we can put him on our team.
The defensive, let's go back to the defense, Mike. The defense, they got bullied. That second half defense got bullied. I almost felt embarrassed for them at a certain point. I thought to myself, oh God, please just get this game over with, because his defense it's very I didn't even have a word. It was almost like you should be out there playing your ass off to earn these positions, but it almost seemed like they weren't. They were just out there going through the motions. But maybe that's what separates 1 and 2s from 3s and 4s, right?
It is too, like talent and effort right there. That's the biggest, two of the biggest things that separate, your first and second team from your third and fourth teamers. Because if you don't have the talent, you got to at least put the effort in to try and make the team. And, if you physically can't do the assignment, you have to at least mentally be able to do it. And if you can mentally do it, you should physically be able to do it as well. So it was just, they were just not that good in the second half. But like I said previous, we're spending all that money on the top flight on the defensive side of the ball. So you only have so much money to spend. So once you get down to those third, fourth teamers, there's kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel of who's going to make the team.
So, we have Jacksonville. We go to Jacksonville and we come home the following week to play Detroit. Now, I think the two things that we need to be concerned about, obviously, we're going to be paying attention to the limelight things, the limelight positions like quarterback, running back, receiver, et cetera, et cetera. But the thing that I feel is the Achilles heel moving forward is defensive depth and that linebacker position, which is right now being split up time between Devin Bush and Robert Spillane. Those two things are the things that we should be paying attention to in the next game, following game. The other things are going to be fun. I already know that George Pickens is going to be on this team. I already know that George Pickens is going to be making plays on this team. You can get a good feeling that there's no chance that Jaylen Warren could not, after yesterday's performance, be on this team. I mean, there's things that you already kind of see taking place. There's things that are already taking place. And again, the quarterback, I mean, if we did a 3-hour show, we'd be able to talk about quarterbacks, but we are going to cut that short just because we don't have that kind of time. So if you look at what happened on Saturday, those two things, defensive depth and that position at linebacker, are the two things that Brian Flores needs to get in there this week and try to figure out what he wants to do next week to make his situation better. But the linebacker thing is the one that scares me.
Yeah, in pass coverage, I saw the stat. They gave up like 8 pass attempts to linebackers, just like 6 of 8 completions.
Yeah,
it was not good. It was not pretty. Hopefully you're just hoping that it's because the front three wasn't getting enough pressure because you didn't have your whole starters out there. So hopefully as the preseason goes on, those guys get rotated in.
Yeah.
In that first half, it makes it look better. The second half, you have you're rotating in proper order and not just throwing out a bunch of randoms. And I'm hoping it is just because it's lower in the depth chart, and hopefully these guys really don't have to play outside of special teams. But I do, like you said, I want to see linebacking
They
play
got to get
improve,
better.
and I want to see that offensive line improve. Kendrick Green, he missed a couple of assignments. He looked lost, but he also had some ones where he was just bowling people over at the guard position. So, like, where the world, Kendrick Green, please stand up. Let us
Yeah.
know who you are, because you
And I
can see
see
he has.
George Pickens lays a hit, a block.
Oh,
Woo!
I saw
I
it
like him, Mike. I like him a
Oh.
lot. If I wasn't spending my next $100 on a Pickett jersey, I would be getting a Pickens jersey. That's gonna have to wait till Christmas. But
that's some expensive
this kid
toilet
is gonna
paper
be
you're buying.
special.
He's a beast, and I mean, my only thing, like, with him, I noticed back in like college highlights, when he destroys someone, he tends to like just stand there and stare at them instead
Yeah,
of
right.
getting back into the play and blocking more. I noticed a couple runs in Georgia where he absolutely destroyed a guy, and he's shit talking, and the play ends up coming back his way. Where if
Right.
he would have turned and had a seal block, the run would have went longer. But that's just, I get it. You destroy someone, you want them to know. But I think that will come with time, maturity.
I think if Canada coaches, people, it's going to take one bad experience when it counts. And
Yeah.
let's just say week one, they're out there playing. He does this. He does a block. The ball's overthrown. It's intercepted by a safety, and he goes the other way. And Pickens is still standing there staring at the guy he hit. That's all it's going to take. They're going to have to
Yep.
address it. I say do it now while it's still early, and we don't. It doesn't affect the team negatively.
Yeah.
But these are the kind of things a lot of times you have with these guys make a lot of money. But on the other hand, Pickens wants to do everything well because he really believes that he has the potential to be that guy. And you know what?
Yeah, he does. I think that that was just he's so excited out there, and he just destroyed that guy. I'll give him that one. But yeah, he seems to be the real deal, and I like him. I just like the way he lets his play do the talking. And then he waits until he scores a touchdown to do all the fun stuff. But in between the lines and the whistles, it's all business. I like to see it. He has that nice balance.
Yeah.
Where you can tell he's a wide receiver. Every wide receiver in this league is a diva. You have to be at that position. And he keeps it under wraps.
Yeah. I think he's going to listen, man. If he can come out and make a splash, if Claypool could get back to the position where he was, I'm not even say become this superstar in the league.
Yeah,
just get back to where you were rookie season. Deontay being the guy that everyone just assumes is going to be number one, he should perform well enough. So between those three, and then you add Austin, you add Gunner, I think that this receiving core is great so far, so good. And another thing is, this is how you want your receivers to be playing at this point.
Yeah.
Let's say that they come out and play bad, and you have to worry about improving and getting better. They're playing good. They're taking advantage of practice. They're preparing mentally. They're preparing physically, and they are making themselves ready to play football games. And they're not messing around. This team is physical. We know this. They throw pads on. They hit each other, which most teams don't. I like that.
Yeah.
You go in, and the thing is, you shake off the rust by doing that. Now you're not going into the first game worried about hitting. You've been hitting for 3 weeks now. So I like that. There's a lot of things to like about this team. And people are going to say, dude, it's preseason, chill. But this is part of the season. This is a very big part of the season. We have to understand and learn our players. And you know what? There's really nobody, with the exception of that linebacker position and some of the defensive depth, that really concern me. I hope that they get that taken care of this week.
Yeah. And what this kind of training camp is reminding me of Tomlin's second training camp, where he ramped up the intense. Well, kind of like I take that back, like his first training camp, because his first training camp, he came in and it was like all intense, all out like this. I'm setting the tone for now in the future. It's kind of like he hit the reset button, getting more physical and getting like the team back to getting rid of people that are like the diva type attitude, that attitude. It's like he hit the reset button. He's like, hey, I no longer have the best quarterback in franchise history. I got 3 guys. What do I need to do? Let's hit the reset button. And going back to the receiving core, we haven't even touched on the tight end position.
No.
You got Pat Fryermuth, who had a damn good rookie year. Zach Gentry, who came on strong. And then if Connor Hayward can keep playing the way he did in this game,
Yeah.
I think that's going to be. We got weapons. It's just going to come. It once again comes back down to that offensive line.
I tell you what, I think that we skipped the tight end for a reason. I think obviously we know that Fryermuth is going to be the guy.
Yeah.
And you know what? When it comes to games, you're putting two tight ends in. You're giving a different look. You want to put a different tight end out there. I think either of these guys are fine between Gentry and Connor Hayward. I kind of like Connor so far.
I like Gentry better. He had some clutch plays last year.
I like Connor. You like Gentry. That's fine. But I think ultimately Muth is going to be the guy. He's going to be the guy that gets the call. And, I think either one of these other two are going to be just fine as a TE2. And as long as they can block, a lot of times that's all it comes down to. It's just as long as you could get on a goal line, on situations, first down, short, third, short, second, you need that second tight end. So I think that is what I'm going to be looking forward to, what kind of blocking these two guys do in these next couple of games. But I think that the proof is in the pudding. There's no chance in hell that Fryermuth isn't the guy.
Oh, obviously.
An injury comes along and puts him down.
Yeah. He better be. He's a second round pick. He better pull through. But yeah, I think, he had a damn good year last year.
He's going to be just fine. Like I said, I think the defense is what we need to worry about. The offense is moving on all cylinders. This is what you want to see. You want to see everybody doing good. That's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
And the offense, with the exception of the line, I think, the line was a little soft, but as far as the offense goes, not much to complain about. I've seen this defense getting pushed around. I've seen guys taking the ball up the middle for 11, 12-yard runs like the linebackers didn't exist. And again, is it the, relievers? Yes. But again,
we saw this last year, though. We saw it last year. Big runs up the middle.
Those guys need to be, they need to be there when called on.
Yeah.
Harvin didn't kick, which was fine with me. He's gonna be there. He's gonna be the
guy. Oh, speaking of punters, did you see the punter for the Colts had an 82-yard punt?
Wow, no, I didn't.
Yeah. Dude fucking boomed it. 82-yard punt.
I didn't see
it ended up being a touchback, so it was still only 62-yard net, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a thing of beauty.
I didn't see a lot of other teams. I kind of kept up with them as the Steelers game was on, but as far as following other games, other teams, I didn't do too much of that this week, which is crazy. I usually do try to stay on.
Yeah, I just saw that. I was kind of watching the Colts game before the Steeler game came on, and I was just like, this dude got a leg.
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw it out there for people.
Jacksonville lost to Cleveland.
Yes.
That's our next opponent. We go down to northeastern Florida this week. Saturday, 7:00. Game 2 of 20.
2 of 20. Jesus. This season's gonna last forever.
I wouldn't let the newspaper, I wouldn't let the talking heads on the radio or the television get inside of your head.
Listen to us, the voice of reason.
Yes, we obviously,
because I am like unbiased when it comes to players on this roster. Not buying it. No one's buying it.
No, you joined a little late on the halftime hijinks, man.
You normally, all right, I got nothing.
Mike, who was your preseason game 1 player of the game for the Steelers?
This is a tough one. I don't know. This is tricky. I'm thinking here. This is rough.
Let me skip line. Let me cut in front of you. I'll go and then we'll come back. All right.
All right.
My player of the game was for the Pittsburgh Steelers in their first preseason game this year was, in fact, Jaylen Warren. There was nobody that I was more impressed with that I didn't know much about.
Yeah.
Now, he came out and he proved himself. There was running backs that ran that I still don't know who they are. There was running backs that ran that I do know who they are, and they didn't quite do as well as I thought they should have. Jaylen Warren overachieved on every single play he touched the ball. He always falls forward. That's a big thing. There were so many things. First hit tackles, they just weren't there. Every time this guy touched the ball, he was able to get positive yardage. I think that's the kind of guy you need to follow up Najee. You're not going to get a superstar. Obviously, this is a second team player, but you do want to get those small things that matter as running back. You always fall forward. You're always gaining yards. All the things that he did, the first hit tackles, they just, again, that's a big thing. Third and 2, a guy hits you in the backfield, you make it out of the backfield for the first down. You know, those are big plays that happen during the course of a game. My player of the week for week 1 is Jaylen Warren.
No, I'm going to go. It's obvious. One of the obvious players. We're going to go with actually George Pickens.
Yeah.
Just because everyone has hyped him up so much.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I think that touchdown catch.
There we go. It was playing in the background on my headset there. But yeah, I'm going to go with him because he lived up to the hype. And you hate as a fan when a player's being talked about, and then they can't go and perform it into the game.
Yeah.
But this kid, he was talked about, and he did what was advertised. So for me, he's player. He's my player of the game just for living up to all the hype that we've heard about. And you know, it's not fair to him even if he didn't live up to the hype because he's not the one saying it. Everyone else is. But I like to see a player live up to the hype.
He certainly did live up to the hype. I was very excited to see him do what he does. Yes. I was going to be very excited to see him do what he does moving forward. I'm going to be very excited to see him come week 1, week 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to week 18. I think he's going to do amazing things. There's nothing that's saying that he's not. And again, being the position that he is, he's not a 1 yet. He's not a 2 yet. He's going to get opportunities because you got to put bodies on Deontay Johnson. You got to put bodies on Claypool. You got to put bodies on Calvin Austin. It's going to be very interesting to see what Pickens is able to do in that one-on-one. Oh, yeah. He's going to get plenty of them.
Yeah, because you got to cover Muth, you got to cover Najee out of the backfield because he's a receiving threat. So, it's going to be a pick your poison who you want to cover, and hopefully he'll be the open man.
I couldn't agree more. I think he's going to be a lot of fun. I think this team's going to be a lot of fun. I think they're going to do a bit better than everyone thinks that they're going to do.
Yes.
I think it's going to be a fun season. Nonetheless, I think that being able to sit down and watch the Steelers after this, amount of time off and just be able to take it in, see your guys, see your uniform, just the whole football experience, Steelers experience was great. I very, 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 very thankful that it's back. We have them for, at least football for another 5+ months. So, I was
excited. I was pumped.
Just skip right by the fact that the Pirates got swept this weekend and just focus on the Steelers.
Who are we talking about? We have a baseball team?
Michael, if you can, without throwing up everywhere, why don't you go and tell everybody about the website?
2dumbyinzers.com. Head over there. Check us out. We have links to Spotify, YouTube, email, all that fun stuff. Everything 2 Dumb Yinzers you need is there. Even our social media accounts are there as well.
The whole time, 59 minutes to that, I was just hoping. I was just hoping that you start vomiting everywhere. It was a bit of
I've yet to throw up once.
You didn't?
No.
Are you really sick then? You know what I mean?
I'm fucking sick, dude. I'm dragging. Like, my bones hurt.
All right. Since your bones hurt, we'll give it to you.
All right.
Fucker.
I got one bone that's throbbing.
Hey now. What, everybody, we do thank you. I hope that you enjoyed today's show. We a lot of times following the games, Monday shows, we'll do a Steeler recap. Maybe that you could learn something, perhaps pick something up that you didn't see during the game. It's going to be a lot of fun. I look forward to doing these episodes.
Me too.
Mike, anything before we take off for the day?
Korean Jesus smiles upon Kenny Pickett.
And everybody, we want to thank you for tuning in. As always, we'll be here every day from 11 to 12, Monday to Friday. And we also put the podcast version of the show up on Spotify every evening at 8 o'clock. So you're going to want to check that out. For the Two Dumb Yinzers, he's Sick Mike. I'm Ryan. We'll see you.